Hey guys, what's up? It is a beautiful Friday afternoon, and I did a take of my tournament report for last week at Oklahoma State's, but apparently the audio was kind of fuzzy. I guess I had my air on or something, and it kind of just messed up the audio, so I'm redoing it now. I have notes for most of it, and I can go back and do it, so it might be a little rough, but it is what it is. Just a few heads up, I'm posting this probably in a couple of days when I feel more comfortable giving out my list, because I am giving out my list for every single tournament I play. Just thought it'd be kind of cool, and maybe this list might actually be valuable for you for the last week of states or for regionals, right? That's the name of that big tournament that's later on in the season. Anyways, went to Oklahoma State's, got there the night before, not too much problem getting there, got a mediocre night's sleep. I feel like no one ever sleeps well for big tournaments like this. Everyone's excited, everyone wants to play, everyone's nervous, these things sort of happen. But I am very confident in my list. It's a CMT list. It's a little bit different in that I kind of teched out the Tornadus line. I don't really like running Terrakion or either of the Shamans. I felt that took away from my consistency. So instead, my techs were switching out one Tornadus for a Virizion from Noble Victories, and one Tornadus for a Regigigas EX from Next Destiny. So instead of running 3 Tornadus, which is more or less the standard, I am running a Gigas, a Virizion, and a Tornadus. So kind of like a toolbox of secondary attackers, which ended up really being pretty useful for this tournament. So I get there right at about the start of registration time, get my deck in. I'm kind of like that. I like turning my deck in, just not having to worry about my list anymore. Don't really show it too much just because I don't want people to scout me out and stuff. And not that anyone really knows me there, so it wouldn't have really mattered that much. It's not like, me playing CMT is like, oh, people are going to be surprised or shocked or want to play something that beats it because so few people knew me. It was my first event in Oklahoma. Anyways, round 1 pairings go up, and I'm paired against Steven. It turns out it's a mirror match, and I flip over my Mewtwo going first, which is, always nice, and I have the DCE in hand. I decide to attach it against his lone Celebi, and I end up ending just as a means of hand refreshing. I'd rather blow one of those. They're not so important that I'm not afraid to use them in the mid and late game, or that I need them for the mid and late game, that I won't use them in the early game. That's what I meant to say. But so I go for that, and I actually end him into a really bad hand. He had 3 or 4 grass energy. He had 2 junk arms, I believe, and I think his top deck was like an Eviolite. So he attaches the Eviolite, but he's forced to pass, and he has no way to get out another basic. So another X-Ball actually knocks him out, and I get the turn 2 donk, and a weird way to win, but I'll take it. On to game 2, I'm playing a guy named Rod. He's playing Eel Zone. He has a cool Green Lantern tattoo. He's going to get all the Green Lantern rings on his knuckles. I have to mention that because that was sick. I'm a big Green Lantern fan. He's my favorite superhero. Fun fact. And so my opponent having Green Lantern tattoo, he's a cool guy. And he's a really nice guy, actually. I didn't run into a single mean person that I played. So, if anyone who played me and, seeing this tournament report, you guys were awesome. Anyways, so game 2 against Rod. We both get really slow starts, which is really concerning for me because he's playing Eel Zone, which, if you're going to talk about decks that, hit each other harder, his is supposed to be the one that hits harder, mine's supposed to be the one that outspeeds. So I feel like the game is in his favor because I'm playing slowly. I get X-balling and using Tornadus and stuff, and I catch out some Eels and eventually a Magneton. And he ends up taking a prize with his Mewtwo against mine, but those are the only 2 prizes he takes. I'm able to, luckily, despite my slow start, really just be able to control the board. I feel like he might have laid down like 1 or 2 more Tornadus / Zekrom than he wanted to, and he realized that was going to hurt him taking up his bench space because I did hit my catchers, which was the one thing that was really important. So because I could hit those, I'm able to really get rolling, take the KOs that are most important to maintain board position, and I'm able to take this one. So moving on to game 3, I'm paired against a guy by the name of John. I think he's another Texas player. There are a lot of Texas people here, but he's playing Zeal, which is a matchup I'm really familiar and comfortable with. I know it's a really close matchup still, but I've just played this matchup so much knowing it's going to be the biggest matchup I have to play. And I am able to hit the DCE Mewtwo and KO his Dynamos, which is really the thing I want to do because he has to put pressure on his own Mewtwo, attaching 3 energy to one-shot me, or drop a plus power, and I think I might have EV-lighted, so that wasn't really an option. I mean, he could junk arm or double plus power, but really at that point he's wasting his own resources. So I'm able to kill 2 Dynamo. It turns out his last one is surprise, so there's really not much he can do. He actually brings it to a really interesting and awkward situation where he had 2 lone Zekrom EXs on the board, and that was basically all he had laid down. So it really became this awkward situation of when is he going to lay down energy, and then he did, and I think he even got off a Glinting Claw, and I couldn't one-shot or something crazy like that, but turns out he played Max Potion, so it was really interesting. Eventually he drops his own Mewtwo to KO mine, and has to hope that I don't have the energy, and I think I had maybe 1 or 2 on my bench one, and it turned out I had the last energy, so I'm able to X-Ball for KO, and I'm moving on to 3-0. So in the 4th round, I'm paired against Nicholas. He is running the New Yen Mega Terrakion deck that's been going around. I did just post a video of me playing against it on my channel, so it was really my only testing match though against that deck, unfortunately. So I knew if you watch that video that my secondary attackers are key, and that I can't use my Mewtwo because he'll just see off jump up and mass attack with Mews and kill me. So I can't really take prizes early in this game, and I use my Virizion, Tornadus, and Regigigas, exclusively. And really my strategy became, well, okay, I know that if I can KO his Mews, then I can use my Mewtwo, which, will help. I mean, he's not the greatest against Yanmega, but, eventually I'll run out of attackers. And then the other thing I decided to do was, well, how do I stop Yanmega? So I'll attack the Mews that have energies on them, and they're squishy, so they're easy prizes. And then how do I stop Yanmega? I try and make it difficult to match hand sizes. This is fairly difficult for me to do. I don't hit my catchers all the time, but I am able to actually cause him to not be able to match hand sizes one turn, I think off of an N. And then he also couldn't attach the energy, so I'm able to pull ahead doing this, and just using Regigigas as a boss. His deck doesn't hit hard enough. Once I get Eviolite on Gigas and, keep my bench space low, it's pretty much a situation where I can create, like I did in that game against Third Cannon, where they're going to have to attack Gigas, and it's going to take multiple shots to KO Gigas, and Gigas can basically just Rage and Hammer for multiple prizes. So that's basically how I ended up winning that game too, and I'm moving on to 4-0. So round 5, I'm paired against Mike, who's another Texas player, and he is a very, very eccentric man. It's really fun playing against him. He's a really nice guy. He's really funny too, but a little on the strange side, but it's Pokemon, so what are you going to expect? So I take 2 prizes with Tornadus against his Saladin Tornadus, which is really good for the mirror, being able to take those early KOs with your Tornadus, not starting a Mewtwo war. He KOs a Mewtwo of mine, and using a ton of resources to catch one. I think I have like 1 energy on the bench. And then that engages in the Mewtwo war. I actually had to. The weird thing about this game was that on turn 1 or 2, I was sitting on all 3 of my Mewtwo's and the Juniper, and I needed to play the draw supporter. So I ended up actually benching all 3 of my Mewtwo's on turn 1 or 2, which is really kind of scary, looking in one sense for, both sides of the field. It's like your opponent's like, oh, well, they're going to have a Mewtwo to respond to mine, if they have the energy. And for me, it's like, I have a lot of EXs that are worth prizes on the board that he can put a lot of energy on a Pokemon and catch and KO. So both those things really came into play, but in the end, I actually feel like I'm not that afraid of benching Mewtwo's or really putting 1 energy on a Mewtwo on the bench, being ready for those revenge KOs because I can win the Mewtwo war. That's what my deck is built to do. So, moving on to round 6, and this is the only part of the tournament where there was any sort of little delay or technical difficulties, which I have to give the Oklahoma TOs props. The tournament, people who ran the tournament did a fantastic job, and this is only a 5-minute, kind of repairing thing, and I think it was because people dropped around round 5, around coming into round 6, if you go 2-3, you're out. So there were a lot of people doing stuff like that, and it ended up being a slight delay for repairs, which was, only awkward because we had set up, and I had an inkling he was playing Zekiel, and I also had an inkling that he led Lone Dynamo, and my lead was a Lone Mewtwo, and I had the DCE in hand, and basically we get to talking, and Alex and I, figure out that I have the DCE Mewtwo and I have the Dawn, because I'm going first, so we're done in 3 seconds, and I end up getting the Dawn. Not the best way to win, but the guy is was 5-0 at this time. I know he's going to go 5-1. Even if he loses his next game, he's probably in the top cut, and I do see him again. So, don't really feel too bad about donking against Alex, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. He's a good sport about it. So moving on to round 7, the last round, I'm paired against Chris Beatty, who is, I think, the only player I knew before the tournament I played. Um, and he's a really nice guy from Oklahoma. I've seen him around at like Arkansas State, Bentonville City Championships, stuff like that. And I know he likes speed decks a lot, and I'm not surprised at all that he's playing the mirror. And Karma comes back at me this time, and he's going for 7-0 in Swiss, and the perfect, the top seed battle turns out to be I mulligan twice. He leads Mewtwo, or Celebi Mewtwo. He's able to KO my lone Celebi on the donk, and I ended up going 6-1. So not really too upset about that. Donks happen. I did mulligan twice. I actually predicted and told Chris because I knew I was playing him. So I told Chris, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna donk me. Like if I had to put my money on any outcome, like that's what I put it on. So kind of funny I predicted it. No shame, like being donked. 6-1. It's donk karma. Part of me was relieved simply because I guess I did buy a little bit into the 7-0 curse kind of thing, and just kind of evening out my donk karma a little bit makes me feel a little bit better going into Top Cut. So going into Top Cut, actually, I am paired against, I take this back, I did know someone else I played in the tournament, before the tournament, and that's my friend Andrew. He's part of Team Legacy, who are a really good team in Oklahoma. He's one of my good friends, one of my favorite people to play against Pokemon-wise. Last time we played regionals, so I'm kind of nervous to play him because I know he's a good player, but at the same time, it's, a little relaxing to play someone you know. It's a little less, I guess it's still pretty formal from the Top Cut and all that, yes, but, it's not someone who, I'm going to get mad at or I'm going to be a stickler with. We're both pretty relaxed with each other, but it's a really good best of 3 series, I will tell you that. I'm not going to tell you the exact details because I am actually in the process of uploading these games, and when they're up, they should be here, here, and here. Hopefully I did that video editing right. I am not a creative video editor, but, it looks cool if I can do it. So spoiler on to top 8. If you end up beating Andrew, sorry if I spoil that for you. You should have gone and watched it. I guess I could have told you. And I'm actually paired against Mike again. From, I think it was round 5 we played. And we played Intense Mewtwo Warrior. Might have been, yeah, I think it was round 5. Anyway, going on. That ends up being another intense best of 3. In the first game, he steamrolled me, and it is unfortunate. I actually I checked my notes, and it's a 6-turn game, and I end up just scooping, just knowing that turn is just gonna win. So I don't really scoop for time. You have a ton of it. But the next game is also really quick. However, I have a really nice start, and I'm able to basically win the Mewtwo War, and not too tense of a game. I think he might try and end me and stuff like that, but he's not really able to do it effectively enough. I got a lot of energy on the board, so even if he did end me, I'm pretty sure I had the 3 energy on the next Mewtwo to revenge KO, no matter how much energy it's on, as long as he has the 2 for X-Ball. So, moving on to our final game, he obviously, he won the flip in the first game, so he's going first in this last one. Either way, he's going first because I won the last game. But he starts with his Shaman EX as his lone lead, which is huge. I'm able to KO that. He's with a Mewtwo. He's able to KO that with a Mewtwo. I revenge his Mewtwo, and basically what this game comes down to is that he's able to portrait me, and I make the. I think this was probably a misplay that easily could have cost me the game. I could have junked on away the end, and because I knew it would hurt me, and I didn't. And this is something I've definitely learned from. So I don't junk on the end. He gets to play my end on his portrait, which brings me down to 1 card, and I think I need 1 energy to revenge KO his Mewtwo. I need either some kind of draw supporter, an energy, or the plus power, and then I have this. So he revenge KOs my Mewtwo after that, and my 1 card that I drew off my end was a Celebi. I promote another Celebi, and lo and behold, my top deck is a Juniper. I Juniper and I hit the DCE, so I'm able to X-Ball for KO. It is a lucky pull, but I had actually been, as a counter to all the ends and how bad end hurts my deck, I had made sure throughout all of Swiss and Top Cut to try and keep fairly conservative supporter play. Try and play at least 1 gear, so I have the option to junk arm for them, but not play too many more than that. So I'm able to hit the Juniper. I had only played 2 draw supporters up until that point, 1 taunt, 1 Juniper, so not that shocking that I hit the supporter, but still, really clutch top deck, and I'm moving on to top four. Top four is where I see Alex Fields again, and there aren't any donks. He ends up winning the flip, and he was the number 2 seed, it turns out. So he ends up winning the flip, and basically the first game is that I have the aggro Mewtwo. I'm able to catch her some Dynamos, and even though he tries to use Mewtwo, it's not enough to end up beating me. The second game is another really close exchange, and basically what it comes down to is that he hits, I think, a Shaman drop or two, and he's able to just, I remember, I mistakenly, because I knew Regigigas was so good in this matchup, I think I had the Juniper at one point, so I didn't want to just blow Regigigas, and I needed the energy, so I laid down Regigigas with no intention of laying energy on him. He was able to catch that up and two-shot it with his Zekrom EX, and that is a huge cost for me in this game, and that's really the mistake I made that he's able to capitalize on and end up winning game 2. So on to game 3, I get to go first, and this one is a doozy. I think I start aggro Mewtwo again, but I don't really hit the catchers, so I slowly take tries against stuff like Thundurus and all that jazz. And I feel like I have good control of the game. The one misplay I make here again has to do with Fortress. I end up having 2 draw supporters in my hand. This is because I'm fearing his though, and I don't want to play them. I don't want to junk on them away. But he basically, I think he either taunts first and then plays my Juniper off his Fortress. And in the end, I am ready to KO his Zekrom EX. I have the catcher, I have everything. And unfortunately, I find out through this that he, instead of playing the Super Rod, which is the normal play, he's actually playing a Revive. So he's able to promote his Thundurus, which will have free retreat under Sky Arrow, and then he hits the Revive. He revives the Mewtwo. He Dynamotors one and attaches one from hand, and he's able to X-Ball for KO. So I end up losing in top 4, but it was a really great experience. It was a lot of fun. Competing at this level like that, it's definitely, I feel like, a breakout performance for me. It's the best I've played in a really long time. It's the first time I've really, really been feeling confident since, I had some weird stuff with regionals, and then, I feel like underplaying in city. So I'm really excited about it. I'll bring you guys the list shortly here, and I'll do like a separate video kind of thing, but I'll melt it in where I'll take a look at the list and why I chose what I chose. I did talk about the 3 alternate attackers, but I'll catch you guys back and. So, came to Arkansas State's a little better rested than I was for Oklahoma, but only a little bit. Ref school stuff the week before, or like the couple days before, but I'm fairly confident in my list. I made a few changes, but I'll go over those. I guess after this part, I'll kind of show the 2 lists, compare them, and talk about things I might do for next week, but not really positive about yet. Still kind of torn on that list. Alright, so round 1, I'm paired against Brian. He's a guy that I played against in Bentonville City Championships. He's a nice guy, and he's running Zeals. And I think that was actually a deck he ran for Bentonville City Championships as well. And so I lead with Smeargle, and I'm able to hit basically the DC Mewtwo, and then take some catcher prizes on some Dynamos, get a big prize lead. Turns out that he only ran a single Mewtwo, and that Mewtwo happened to be prize, as well as a couple of DCEs. So really, I just kind of have the advantage based on prizes from the get-go. I ended up pulling out this one fairly confidently by just basically catching and maintaining board control. So I'm 1-0. Round 2, I'm paired against a guy named James, and we're playing in the mirror. Apparently James won Louisiana State Championship, so congratulations to him for that. But basically he gets the turn 1 Tornadus Hurricane going first and KOs the Celebi. From there I'm playing more or less defensively. I'm forced to use Mewtwo first, so he also takes the first Mewtwo prize. At one point I miss a crucial plus power or catcher, I forget which. Up to the essential plus power in my notes, but I missed that, so I'm not able to take back the lead there. And then my last hope is to play an N, but on my N, I think I N him to 2 cards, and he ends up top decking the Juniper. So not a whole lot I could do there. I tried my best, but going in the mirror, going second, and facing down the turn 2 or the turn 1 Tornadus, pretty rough. So I ended up going 1-1. After a lunch break, I'm paired with Yves, who I've played with a couple times before in various places, and he's playing some sort of rogue deck. There's a discrepancy whether he's called heads or tails when I roll the die. I do hold that he changed his answer, which kind of angers me a little bit because he only told me that after I showed him that I basically had the donk on his own Solosis. Anyways, I'm basically able to power through with Mewtwo anyways, and I'm able to take this one pretty easily, so I'm on to 2-1. In round 4, I'm paired with Mike Mullen, who I played against a couple times in Oklahoma, and basically he's able to take the first prize and the first Mewtwo prize again, like my last mirror match, and I end up falling behind and kind of falling short again, similar to the way I fell short against James. This time I feel like I kind of had more control over the game, and it was more my own fault, but still I was put at a disadvantage going second, and not too surprising that I ended up losing. Round 5, I am paired against a guy by the name of Jackson, who I'd never played against, and he's playing basically a fighting deck. I get the turn 1 Tornadus Donk, so there's really not too much to say. I was running stuff like Lucario from Next Destinies and some other stuff, but I didn't really get to see it. We played another fun game, but again, I think I hit turn 1 Tornadus there too. So round 6 is against my good friend Micah from Team Moonshadow. Basically, he starts off first and hits the turn 1 disaster or turn 1 charge for turn 2 disaster volt. I try and basically take board control by catching up his Dynamos and knocking them out. I also try and use Regigigas effectively, but unfortunately he doesn't have any EXs on the bench, so I can't really Raging Hammer for 2 prizes on anything. So he really kind of played around Gigas there really effectively. And even after I take out all his Dynamo Electrics, he does have a lot of energy on the board and basically is able to use a Shaman drop to move those energy to, I think, an EX, like a Mewtwo or something, to end up X-balling me for game anyways. So that puts me at 3-3 and out of cut. I didn't write down my round 7 opponent's name, unfortunately, but we play a really close game. This time I do have the Mewtwo DCE, and I'm able to take prizes on early Dynamos and apply pressure. We basically exchange a couple of Mewtwo's, but I can't actually hit dual balls, either get them or hit heads on them when I get them, which is kind of a recurring theme of the day. I actually hit septuple tails in one game. But so I'm not able to get out another Mewtwo, so I basically decide to play the Regigigas from hand, and I put some damage on his Mewtwo. He then proceeds to have one of the craziest turns I've ever seen. I think he had 3 energy on his Mewtwo. He proceeds, and I have, I think, 3 energy on my Gigas and an Eviolite. And he proceeds to Force Breath, attach a DCE, because he played a switch so he could Force Breath, and I think get like 3 or 4 plus powers using Junk Arms, and basically, he doesn't attach the DC. Basically what it comes down to is that he whiffs on the DCE, and he ends up 10 or 20 short of being able to one-shot me. So instead of putting all this damage on my Regigigas, he just decides to catch her and take a Celebi to take it down to 1 prize on his side and 2 on mine. However, I had put the 80 damage on the Mewtwo the turn before, and I actually have the plus power. I'm able to drop it and just Raging Hammer for 90 this time and take the game. So, really intense one, and I end up pulling it out to go 4-3. I thought that since I was paired up in that round and I knocked a 4-2 down to 4-3, that there'd be one less 5-2 that way, and that maybe I'd be the top 4-3. However, this was not the case. There actually was a 5-2 who bubbled, so obviously I didn't make the cut. I finished at 26, which is kind of disappointing. After having such a hot week the week before and placing 3rd in a bigger attendance states, but it just goes to show you that everyone has their day in this format, and it
kind of is a luck-based format. I feel like there's kind of an entry level, and then once you're kind of there, then there's some luck that can put you higher or lower on any given day. So it's not so much luck as kind of variability, I guess. I'm not sure if I actually agree with what I just said there, but it's complicated to understand or explain kind of how this format is turning out. I did pick up 2 kicker points though, which is nice, which puts me up to 13 championship points, which is more respectable than the 5 I was sitting at 2 weeks ago. So there's my tournament report. Let's go on to the lists. The first week, and you probably saw this from my playtcg.me games, I was kind of running this split instead of running 3 Tornadus, where I was running 1 Gigas, 1 Virizion, and 1 Tornadus. I really liked this because they all had kind of their different roles. Gigas could Raging Hammer stuff and was really nice in the mirror as well as against Zeals, as long as neither deck was running Terrakion, which personally I don't think is all that great. Neither of those decks. He kind of kills consistency in my opinion, but some people are playing him. So I ran those 3 and I found them all really effective. Virizian's double draw really came into play a couple of times too, where I just dead drew. So I like that idea. I also ran a Copycat, which is the other interesting card I think I ran, that instead of running 3N, just because N can really kind of hurt yourself in the late game. However, I ended up copycatting in some situations for like 3 cards, so I wasn't too sure about that one. So for week 2, I decided to make a few changes to the list. I'm not really going to go over the rest of the cards. It's a pretty standard build, and I've talked a lot about this deck. I did make 2 changes to the deck list, actually. One of them was that I decided to include a Smeargle. Smeargle, as I talked about, really burned me in Oklahoma, and I thought he would be really effective in Arkansas. He helped out in 1 or 2 games. I think I mentioned it, but in game 1, I didn't have a supporter, so I actually portraited for a Pont against Brian, and that really kind of set the tone for the game, and I drew through a ton of the cards in my deck, and that's how I was able to put on the early game pressure. So he was really helpful that time, but in a lot of other cases, people wanted to end me and would instead catcher up my Smeargle and not get out, so it kind of became a target. But at the same time, I didn't feel like it actually gave me that much better board control. I didn't feel like it left that much energy on the field. So I really didn't find Smeargle as beneficial as I would have liked to have felt he was. So I'm thinking about dropping him for this week. The other card, Copycat, that I mentioned, I did Copycat for 3. I'd rather go for something more consistent than dynamic like that. Just, I am playing the 2N, and those are kind of dynamic supporters. I'd rather kind of go with something more consistent. I'm thinking about a Charon or maybe a Sages. Those are both pretty safe cards. Pretty basic cards. I don't actually have a Sages on my person. I didn't bring everything I needed home with me because I'm irresponsible. But hopefully I'll be able to bum one off someone or, buy one. It's like a 25-cent card. So that's kind of where I am with those. Thinking about trying to play Shaman, thinking about trying to play back Virizion. I took him out for Arkansas because I was afraid a lot of people were playing Reshiflosion. It did well in Tennessee. But I'm thinking of trying to add him in. I'm actually thinking of lowering the Sky Arrow count and maybe the gear count, just because the deck was very consistent, but at the same time I kind of felt like it wasn't consistency that was ever hurting me. It was kind of, I didn't have enough oomph in my deck. So maybe going to work on that. Maybe going to work on more attackers that aren't EXs. So those are just some thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this tournament report. I hope the list helped you. I'm probably not going to regionals, so I'm really, not upset about releasing these lists at all. They're good lists. I can attest, especially the first one. It has an accomplishment behind it. I took 3rd at it at Oklahoma State. So these are nice lists. They might not be for your play style, but at least they're a good starting point. I recommend you test different things. Some of these different things I've mentioned, some of the things I mentioned in my deck analysis and my 6 prizes article. But that's going to be it for me here, guys. I'll make sure to tell you how I do at week 3 in Illinois. And if you're going there, make sure you say hi to me. I like meeting people and stuff like that. I'm also Adam is Classy on Hay Trainer, so if you're a Hay Trainer kid seeing this and you see me, then you should say hi to me if you like me on Hay Trainer. So that's it. I'll catch you guys next week with the Illinois part of this state's report.